I was elected in 2008. I was actually, believe it or not, the first South Asian woman to be elected at the municipal level in Surrey. Quite honestly, I think it took way too long. Mayor Diane Watts was elected in 2005, and she was the first woman. And in a city of close to 500,000 people, where we have the largest number of children of any city in the country, I think women's leadership is very critical. We have a majority of women on our council, and because of that, we have an affordable housing and homelessness fund. We have a poverty reduction strategy. Our sustainability charter goes beyond just the surface level of sustainability. Our crime reduction strategy, which is an integrated approach around not only deterring and preventing and enforcement, but it also incorporates concept of supports on early child education, restorative justice, and one of our most significant pieces, and for me personally was once I got elected, was to add voice to the issue of domestic abuse. Domestic abuse, as you all know, takes many forms, whether it's physical, emotional, or financial. And the sad reality is that it is still a topic that people believe is a private affair that should take place behind closed doors. That's not our attitude in Surrey. I've taken on the issue not only from the perspective of what we need to do to make sure that the women who are living in abuse are supported, but let's also take a look at what makes an abuser. Right? It doesn't happen overnight. There's no trigger that one day says to, that I'm now going to start abusing my spouse or my children or my senior parents. It's a learned, condoned behavior that starts at a very early age. So under the portfolio of the domestic abuse, we've formulated a group called the Surrey Coalition Against Domestic Abuse. It's a coalition that is made of service providers, because as a city, really, and I'm told this, still believe it or not, by many men in the community, we don't know why you're not talking about zoning and road levies and transportation. This isn't an issue city the city should be talking about. And there is still significant backlash, and it's something that I personally battle for lots of reasons. But what we decided to do is we see our role as facilitating the service providers who have committed their lifelong passion and careers to working on issues of domestic abuse. So when I got elected, we did 2 informal gatherings of all service providers, which included Crown, judges, police, probation, social service agencies, community service agencies, pulled them into a room. We did 2 meetings. They decided we should have an annual conference. Again, the conference is only open again to service providers, and what we've been able to do is to make sure that people who are doing this work aren't working in silos. There's a coordination of information, and we're building on successes. So this year's conference was actually on teen dating. Because we're fortunate in Surrey because we've really advocated for a domestic violence unit. We're really fighting hard to get that unit expanded, but the sole purpose of that unit within the RCMP is to deal with these cases. And so we, again, going back to what makes an abuser is it starts at early ages, and how do we talk about breaking the cycle. So I would actually like to give my time back to you, because I don't want to talk at you. I would really like to talk with you, and I'd like to open up the floor to questions, because one of the other pieces that was really important for me personally when I got elected was the community consultation piece. And I say, and I stand before you and say, as an elected person, you will not always agree with everything I do. If out of 10 things you can agree with me on 7, I think we have a really great record. But as long as we have a process in place by which you feel like your voice was heard, that's a success for me, because we're challenged to make decisions, and we have to do, unfortunately, trade-offs for the betterment of the city or the betterment of a cause that sometimes does cause grief to a neighborhood or an individual group of people. So, that's one of the challenges we face. So I went out into the community, did consultation with 38 community associations, and then 6 open town hall meetings. And for the first time ever, we're going to be doing a community summit actually here on April 6th. And the panel discussions for the summit are actually being determined by the community. We went out onto our website and said, tell us what you'd like to talk about. And so I'm going to be very interested in seeing the results of that. So my style is to listen more, talk less, and I'm just really grateful for this opportunity tonight.